Well, we need Greenland for national security purposes. I've been told that for a long time, long before I even ran. I mean, people have been talking about it for a long time. You have approximately 45,000 people there. People really don't even know if Denmark has any legal right to it. But if they do, they should give it up because we need it for national security. That's for the free world. I'm talking about protecting the free world. You look at, you don't even need binoculars. You look outside, you have China ships all over the place. You have Russian ships all over the place. We're not letting that happen. We're not letting it happen.
The notion of the United States acquiring Greenland has resurfaced under President-elect Donald Trump, reigniting a mix of intrigue, criticism, and debate. Greenland, the world's largest island and a strategic Arctic territory, has long captured U.S. interest due to its vast natural resources and geopolitical importance. Trump's recent comments on his Truth Social platform, boldly stating, "Make Greenland great again," and calling U.S. control of Greenland an absolute necessity, have propelled the issue back into the spotlight. This isn't the first time Trump has expressed interest in Greenland. In 2019, his proposal to purchase the territory was met with outright rejection by Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen, leading Trump to cancel a planned visit to Denmark. At the time, Frederiksen described the idea as absurd, underscoring Denmark's firm stance on Greenland's autonomy and its ties to the Danish realm. Greenland, which transitioned from a Danish colony to a semi-sovereign territory in 1953, has consistently maintained a distinct identity and governance under Denmark. However, Trump's latest remarks suggest a more aggressive stance. In a press conference on Tuesday, he declined to rule out military or economic actions to pursue U.S. interests in both Greenland and the Panama Canal.
Let's start, if we could, with your references to Greenland and the Panama Canal, so forth. Can you assure the world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to use military or economic coercion?
No.
And can you tell us a little bit about what your plan is? Are you going to negotiate a new treaty? Are you going to ask the Canadians to hold a vote? What is the strategy?
Yeah, I can't assure you, you're talking about Panama and Greenland. No, I can't assure you on either of those two. But I can say this, we need them for economic security. The Panama Canal was built for our military. I'm not going to commit to that now. It might be that you'll have to do something. Look, the Panama Canal is vital to our country. It's being operated by China. China. And we gave the Panama Canal to Panama. We didn't give it to China. And they've abused it. They've abused that gift. It should have never been made, by the way. Giving the Panama Canal is why Jimmy Carter lost the election, in my opinion. Well, we need Greenland for national security purposes. I've been told that for a long time, long before I even ran. I mean, people have been talking about it for a long time. You have approximately 45,000 people there. People really don't even know if Denmark has any legal right to it. But if they do, they should give it up because we need it for national security. That's for the free world. I'm talking about protecting the free world. You look at, you don't even need binoculars. You look outside, you have China ships all over the place. You have Russian ships all over the place. We're not letting that happen. We're not letting it happen. And if Denmark wants to get to a conclusion, but nobody knows if they even have any right, title, or interest. The people are going to probably vote for independence or to come into the United States. But if they did do that, then I would tariff Denmark at a very high level.
You said you were considering military force to acquire Panama and Greenland. Are you also considering military force to annex and acquire Canada?
No, economic force. Because Canada and the United States, that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line, and you take a look at what that looks like, and it would also be much better for national security. Don't forget, we basically protect Canada. But here's the problem with Canada. So many friends up there. I love the Canadian people. They're great. But we're spending hundreds of billions a year to protect it. We're spending hundreds of billions a year to take care of Canada. We lose in trade deficits. We're losing massive. We don't need their cars. You know, they make 20% of our cars. We don't need that. I'd rather make them in Detroit. We don't need the cars. We don't need their lumber. We have massive fields of lumber. We don't need their lumber. We have to unrestrict them because stupid people put, restrictions on, but I can do that with an executive order. We don't need anything they have. We don't need their dairy products. We have more than they have. We don't need anything. So why are we losing $200 billion a year and more to protect Canada?
Greenland's geopolitical significance cannot be overstated. The Arctic territory is rich in natural resources, including rare earth minerals, and holds strategic military importance, particularly as global powers like China and Russia intensify their presence in the Arctic region. Yet, any attempt to assert control over Greenland would not only strain U.S.-Danish relations, but also provoke backlash from Greenland's local government and its people, who have shown little interest in becoming part of the United States. Popular investigative journalist Whitney Webb believes there is a bigger, yet-to-be-disclosed reason why Trump and his new buddies, like Tesla CEO Elon Musk, want Greenland to be a part of the United States. In one post made on Elon's social media platform X, Whitney argues that the interest in Greenland is less about national security and more about the region's vast mineral deposits and the interests of billionaires like Musk. Her post reads, "People should consider that arguably the main interest in Greenland, and also likely Canada as well, from the Trump camp, and Musk is related to vast mineral deposits, particularly those necessary for the energy transformation and EV revolution that is directly tied to the business interests of Musk as well as other prominent big tech figures. For example, aside from Musk, Jeff Bezos, who recently gave very generously to Trump's inauguration fund, backs a firm called Cobalt Metals, along with Bill Gates, Reid Hoffman, and Mark Andreessen. This firm is drilling in Greenland for EV-related minerals. Northern Canada also possesses significant deposits of minerals essential to EV production. The digital transformation that these Silicon Valley oligarchs are attempting to manifest would, admittedly, require all of the known deposits of lithium, nickel, cobalt, and several other minerals across the planet. The U.S. itself is not necessarily rich in these minerals, but some of its neighbors are. If you are cheerleading for this, be aware that 1. It will help accelerate the sustainable development digital transformation that needs these minerals specifically. 2. It is not in the interest of the public of any of these countries, but instead in the interest mainly of American tech billionaires. 3. It will devastate the environment of Canada and Greenland. 4. Boosting access to EV metals will also likely require existing incentives to purchase EV cars in the U.S. to stay, so these mining ventures have a high ROI. Trump has spoken about removing them, but his ties to Musk and other big tech billionaires suggest it is unlikely. Whitney has also been ringing the alarm about Silicon Valley oligarchs like Mark Zuckerberg and Peter Thiel, who are suddenly trying to rebrand as libertarian. Thiel, a co-founder of PayPal and Palantir Technologies, recently posted an op-ed titled "A Time for Truth and Reconciliation," where he raised lots of questions about government-sponsored censorship and misinformation during the pandemic. Here is Webb's reaction to Thiel's rebranding attempt. Her post reads, "These Silicon Valley oligarchs trying to rebrand as libertarian, even though they are fused at the hip with the U.S. national security state, and acting like they are all now outraged with Epstein, even though they all met with him, should be easy to see through. Silicon Valley and the deep state are one and the same, and this should be a clear indication that the deep state itself is trying to cloak itself in a libertarian MAGA veneer to hurt Americans who would normally dissent into supporting the same policy agendas they have been wary about for years. The deep state is rebranding itself, and many will cheer it on as winning." In her post, Whitney warns further that trust in the public sector has been at an all-time low post-COVID, and the effort to rebuild trust means moving into the private sector to finally unveil the public-private partnership that governs us. She warns Americans to stop focusing on the words of politicians and these Silicon Valley oligarchs while paying rapt attention to their actions. "Actions absolutely speak louder than words," she concludes in the post. Like Thiel, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg has also been trying to rebrand and remake his social media platform to suit the incoming administration. Whitney warns that this is another big sham. Zuckerberg recently appeared on the Joe Rogan podcast, during which he insisted that the Biden administration pressured Facebook to censor posts on vaccine side effects. Responding to this piece of information, Whitney wrote, "The people who will use this podcast to tell you Zuckerberg has changed and is now ultra-based will also be selling you Meta's metaverse. Just give it a year or two. Zuckerberg isn't and will never be your friend, and Facebook/Meta was always an operation of the NatSec state." When asked if she believed Rogan is a part of the PSYOPs, Whitney added, "Well, I certainly think it's interesting that Rogan's pal and UFC head Dana White joined Facebook/Meta's board just a few days before this interview." In another post that has almost 40,000 likes on X, Whitney wrote, "If you fall for the Zuckerberg rebrand, you could probably fall for anybody's rebrand at this point." Whitney's final note of warning reads, "If the powers that be know that people have stopped trusting them, which has now been openly telegraphed, they will manufacture heroes and rebrand old ones while also retooling the sales pitches for their policies to fit the interests/views of the demographic that has been creating the most resistance to those policies. The op is in full swing, don't be fooled. Remember, pay attention to the policy and the promoted solutions, not to rhetoric, and it will be much easier to sift through the BS." Do you agree that this is another giant PSYOPs, and Americans are already falling for the trap? Please share your thoughts, comments, and observations in the comment section below. Also, ensure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.